With the selection of a jury in the Sean Diddy Combs case almost complete, prosecutors are preparing for opening arguments on Monday. But they admit there's a snag. One of their key witnesses against the rapper appears to have gone missing. This comes as we learn that Combs' ex-girlfriend, who was seen on video being assaulted by the rapper, is pregnant.
As jury selection nears completion in the high-profile trial of Sean Diddy Combs, prosecutors are facing a major disruption. One of their most crucial witnesses, known only as Victim 3, has mysteriously disappeared. Her sudden absence threatens to undermine the case before it even begins. The witness, who was set to testify about disturbing abuse allegations, has gone off the radar completely. Without her testimony, a significant piece of the prosecution's foundation may collapse. With opening statements scheduled for Monday, the timing of her disappearance has raised suspicions about whether fear or foul play played a role.
Sean Diddy Combs' trial backing out, victim number 3, as she's called, was set to testify against the music mogul. The name of victim number 3 was going to be revealed when she took the stand, but the woman has apparently gone missing, and prosecutors say they've been unable to reach her.
People just get nervous, and this person could just be nervous and just has had second thoughts.
If the prosecutor can't find this witness, how might it affect the case?
Look, I don't think it's going to have a tremendous effect. The prosecution is going to call a number of alleged victims. So look, this is just one less.
Someone else is also getting cold feet. A juror sent an email to the judge asking to be removed from the panel for issues of personal well-being.
In a dramatic twist, another potential problem emerged when a juror requested to be excused for reasons tied to personal well-being. The intense spotlight and emotionally heavy accusations have created a volatile atmosphere, making it difficult to maintain steady participation. Legal analysts worry that instability within the jury could make it harder to secure a conviction. Meanwhile, former FBI agent Bobby Chacon stressed how difficult it is to build a case against a wealthy, influential celebrity like Diddy, especially when the abuse spans 2 decades and involves deeply personal, often humiliating trauma that victims are hesitant to relive publicly.
Testimonies are going to be extremely important. Building a case against someone as high profile as Diddy is not an easy job. So I'm going to bring in former FBI agent Bobby Chacon to talk more about this. So off the bat, Bobby, how do you build a case against a celebrity as well-resourced and powerful as Diddy?
Well, it takes a lot, Sylvia, as you know, because the allegations in this case range from like 2004 to 2024. So this is going on for 20 years, and they're finally getting around to charging him now and trying now. That's because it's so difficult to get people who are not afraid to come forward. This person was powerful, they were rich, they had a lot of influence, they were allegedly violent. So all of those things add up to making it very difficult for investigators to get people to talk to them about these. You add in the fact that many of these things are embarrassing. They're of a sexual nature. They're private. They take place behind closed doors, and that adds to the reticence of witnesses coming forward and talking about these things. And so investigators have to do a lot of long, hard work in getting these witnesses to trust them, number one, to make sure they feel like they are being treated, not as a pawn in a game to get Diddy, but as people that really care, that the prosecution cares about these people. And so you bring in victim witness people who are trained really and have the background in talking to people who are maybe victims of alleged sexual violence. And so you bring in specialists that kind of can talk to people like that and get them to open up about these things and to trust the investigators and trust the prosecutors, that they're just not going to be thrust into a situation. You have to get them to trust you so that if someone does make a threat, even if it's veiled, people can do that on social media now. They can say things that are kind of a little bit wonky sometimes, or these veiled threats. So if the witnesses that you're developing are comfortable enough with you, they will bring those threats to you, or those situations where they might feel threatened. You always have, on the federal level, we have the Witness Protection Program, right, which is run by the U.S. Marshal Service. That's kind of a very extreme step, because that's somebody you change their identity, you move them to another part of the country, they're not allowed any contact with previous people in their lives. So it's the Witness Protection Program is one of the more extreme steps that you take. But there are other steps you can take to ensure the witness that they're not going to be subject to that. If anyone does make a statement that's even considered something like that, you send a team to go out and investigate and to question that person and to get them to maybe make a retraction or to kind of back off a little bit. So you do have to do a good job at making sure the witnesses are comfortable that if anything should happen that they feel uncomfortable about, they bring it to you, and then you have to address it in the ways that are available.
Diddy faces serious federal charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking, with prosecutors alleging that he used his music empire, Bad Boy Entertainment, as a front for a criminal enterprise. Accusations include emotional and physical abuse, manipulation, and even intimidation of witnesses from behind bars. Reports suggest he's tried to silence victims by coercing them or encouraging favorable public statements. One woman even claims he helped craft a rebuttal letter to discredit an accuser. These moves, if verified, could qualify as textbook witness tampering. With such tactics alleged, it's no wonder some key witnesses and jurors are pulling away from the case.
Well, I mean, on the surface, if the prosecutor's claims are true, this seems like pretty much textbook witness tampering, right? I mean, it appears to be an effort to either, in some cases, intimidate witnesses from testifying against him, or there have been other reports of sort of inducing people to make statements in his defense. There was some allegation that in one instance this was a statement that he, in essence, dictated or drafted with a woman who made a statement that was attempting to rebut one of the accusers, I believe, in a civil case against him. I mean, witness tampering is bad. The things that Sean Combs is accused of are terrible. He pleads his innocence. The justice system will presumably work its way through.
It is likely that there is some underlying truth to at least some of the allegations. There might be a lot of underlying truth to a lot of the allegations. There's probably some bandwagoning going on. We spoke to an attorney who's for one of the alleged victims of Diddy a few weeks ago. I believe Amber Nomiki and I did. And they said they had calls, they had information, they had people, hundreds of them, come forward. They're not going to represent all of them. They're, which ones have evidence that can be compelling, what are the best cases to bring that. I also saw a story in the New York Post, this is from a week ago, about Diddy stuff that I wanted to read the headline of. Woman claims she saw minors dressed as Harajuku Barbies at Sean Diddy Combs' freak-off parties, what he was describing there to Conan so many years ago. Said these were sex-fueled parties with what she initially thought were little people dressed as Japanese Barbies. And she said, this is her talking to TMZ, are those midgets? And she actually thinks they were kids dressed up in sexy.
Oh, gross.
So again, that's just from someone who provided this information to TMZ for a documentary, but pretty disgusting.
It is. No, that's.
Testimonies from industry insiders paint a horrifying picture of Diddy's alleged actions behind the scenes. One former associate described how Diddy promised to drug and pimp out members of the girl group Danity Kane, claims that shocked even seasoned professionals. Aubrey O'Day, a former member of the group, has spoken out, revealing how Diddy mocked her body, undermined her confidence, and pushed women to meet disturbing, unspoken expectations. With no broader Me Too movement back then, many suffered silently, under intense pressure and legal NDAs. Only now are some beginning to speak out, though many remain too traumatized or legally bound to talk.
I think you want somebody who wants to serve, someone eager to serve, because that suggests that person might be inclined toward a celebrity like Diddy. I would also, in this case, I would want men, not because men support abuse, but I could see this being very difficult for women jurors. I would want younger jurors as well. I don't know that older jurors would be good for him.
Do you care where they get their news? Do you care if they go on social media?
I wouldn't care so much about social media. Certainly watching you on Law and Crime would be a real problem. But no, I wouldn't care too much. I mean, in fact, if they were reading the celebrity media, TMZ, Rolling Stone, that might be an encouraging thing for Diddy's counsel.
Now, Ben, according to the court today, they expect preemptory challenges.
Adding to the shock, allegations surfaced that underage girls were dressed in sexually provocative attire and brought to Diddy's so-called freak-off parties. A woman told TMZ she initially thought they were little people dressed as Harajuku Barbies, but later realized they were minors. This disturbing claim connects to a broader pattern of alleged exploitation involving minors and coercion. all potentially orchestrated under the guise of lavish entertainment events. If these accusations are corroborated, they could not only intensify the charges Diddy faces, but also expose an even darker side of the music industry's elite social circles.
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas. It's difficult when you're that young to understand your worth as a woman through the men that I was around, and that was very traumatic. I don't think any of us have healed from that. Diddy would be like, you're not hot anymore, like what happened? You don't have anything, like you don't have any curves. You're looking like you're not looking like, I can't get people to think that you're my good looking person. And there was no Me Too at that time. There was no protecting anyone at that time. You signed a million NDAs and a million contracts that took away all your rights.
Despite the mounting claims and legal hurdles, Diddy continues to plead his innocence. His defense team is expected to argue that many of his past relationships were complicated, but mutual. They're preparing to frame the narrative as one of shared toxicity rather than predatory behavior. However, experts caution that this strategy is risky. Power dynamics are critical in these cases, especially when fame, wealth, and influence are involved. Diddy's defense may struggle to convince a jury that these relationships were consensual when so many accusers describe systemic manipulation and fear. The case hinges on whether that imbalance can be proven.
And I know you ain't signed it. I know you ain't signed an NDA, clearly. But did Diddy make his artists sign NDAs and people that work for him?
Well, a lot of these rappers, a lot of these industry people, anybody who does business nowadays with the internet, they have NDAs, non-disclosure. That means that if you work for them, you around them, you can't disclose any of the information about them. It's the same thing that he gave to all his artists when he gave them their publishing back. I'm gonna give y'all publishing, but y'all can't talk about Janice Combs, Justin Combs, Sony, Bad Boy, or anything that happened. Y'all can't talk about none of that. But there's some artists that didn't say anything, that didn't sign it, and they able to talk about anything they want to. And I think that's those girls that was, I think Danny Kane. I think a couple of them didn't sign it. And boy, oh boy, they probably gonna go after him too. Cause I heard him, and I'm giving you this, Aubrey. He stood up there and he said in front of a lot of people, we were in the studio, and I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'm gonna drug their ass off and pick them up and pimp them out to my nigga. He said, I'm gonna drug them out. I'm gonna get them all on drugs, and I'm gonna pimp their ass out to my nigga. I was like, that's somebody's kids. And walked out. And it's somebody that heard me. It's somebody that heard me. I mean, well, it's not only somebody that heard me, it's somebody that I know who was in the studio at the time that happened, and I still talk to him today. And we were just talking about that the other day. He done moved back to Indiana. I don't know why. I'm gonna give you that one. He said he was gonna drug them all out and pimp them out. Is that he need to take his counsel advice. Because if he think he's gonna get out of this from the federal government, he out his mind. They in the process of plea bargaining, trying to do a plea bargain session with him, and he not taking it. That's probably why one of the lawyers jumped off the case. Remember Benjamin Bradford, his first lawyer with the Cassie situation? He said, give her the $10 million and make this go away, brother. He ended up giving her $30 million. He's not taking the lawyer's advice. 9 times out of 10, they probably got him a good plea bargain. Yo, listen to me, we can give you 15 years. 10 or 15 years. You do that, you come out, you only have to do like 12, 13. Come out to a halfway house. You still can live some of your life out as a free man. he don't want to hear it. So it is what it is. The federal government do not want to go to court. 9 times out of 10, they want a plea bargain with you. You understand? You accept the plea, you accept the time, you go ahead, you save the government money, you save them time and effort and manpower. If you don't believe that that white guy was a plant, then something is wrong with you. He done sold them enough drugs, but they haven't hit him with that charge. They haven't did him with that charge yet. Or that we know of. If you don't believe that they're going to try to hit him with those guns in there, they saving all that for last. The drugs, the guns. They'll do another superseding indictment and add those two if he don't take the plea. If he don't take the plea bargain to the sex trafficking or whatever stuff like that, they're going to say, okay, let's add the guns to it and let's add the drugs to it.
How you feel about Keefe D? He out here crying to come on, man.
Keefe D, I think is a mistravesty of justice that Keefe D is still in jail without a bail, or they're not making his bail low enough for him to go home. For the fact of the matter is that Keefe D was told to say something by a LAPD officer who was writing a book, doing a movie, and making himself rich off of an event that happened in our culture. And that he's in jail because the cops said a lot of these things first.
The stakes are extraordinarily high. If convicted, Diddy could face 15 years to life in prison. The prosecution is working to ensure other witnesses are protected, possibly even exploring witness protection options. With intimidation, high profile, lawyers, media frenzy, and the weight of celebrity influence, the case is a tightrope walk for everyone involved. As more disturbing details emerge, and as more potential witnesses gain courage, this trial could either be a reckoning for decades of alleged abuse, or a test of how far influence can shield the powerful. Regardless, it's clear the courtroom drama is only just beginning.